Queria chamar o palco, mas ele já está no palco. O Nick, eu fiquei ensaiando o nome dele nas últimas 2 semanas para falar, mas vamos tentar falar o nome dele certo. Hi there. Nice, how are you? Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate. So we're here with Nick Desaulniers. Oh, I did my best
Beautiful.
for this.
Very good.
Oh, thank you. So, Nick, I'd like to ask you a few questions. And first of all, all we know you're kind of passionate for open source and stuff like that. And what are the truths and the myths of open source in your opinion, in your point of view?
Yeah, I think I talk to a lot of people about like, what are your opinions of open source? How do you feel about open source software? And the number one thing that I hear people why they don't choose to open source their software is that they're almost like ashamed of their coding style or of their code. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I'm ready to open source this. I just need to clean it up a little bit. And a lot of people, they get very nervous and they think, oh, you know, I'm going to be laughed at or mocked. Maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe I'm not the best at this. But I would really encourage you to go ahead and publish your source code, because it's one of those things where until people start using your software, they're not going to start like looking into the quality of it. And even then, you should look at it with open arms, right? Like if someone is going to come along and help you, maybe you're ashamed. You might think like, oh, I did something wrong. But in actuality, the first time you get a pull request, it's pretty empowering, because you realize that, you know, people are using your code, and it's pretty awesome.
Something unforgettable, like when your first pull request gets merged, right? That's awesome. And what about this native apps and web apps? Give us a little brief on that.
I'm a little bit terrified of native apps. I can't tell you how many times I've had to reinstall, you know, Windows because I've downloaded an executable that turned out to be malicious. And I think, you know, the web really gives us this nice, safe, portable sandbox to be able to run our code in. And so I think things like Chrome OS and Firefox OS and Tizen, I think they're the coolest things out there, because ever since I was a web developer, I can remember the very first projects I ever tried was trying to emulate a desktop in the browser and trying to emulate a terminal in the browser. And even today, I find myself spending all day long in either my browser or my terminal, and even then I can access my terminal through my browser. So I'm curious to see how much longer do we really need a desktop environment that is not provided by the browser.
There's a last point I'd like you to talk about a little briefly. That is that NSA and privacy concern. I know you've been involved in some San Francisco
protests.
Yeah, that's the word. Do you think this is necessary? Don't you think it's extremely like excessive caring about it? What is your opinion on that? Because as you were involved with that, I think you have a really strong opinion on this.
Yeah, certainly. I certainly do. You know, I think it's very important that people understand, because I think the internet is a great tool for empowering people and for having access to knowledge. But some people would like to use it for evil, in my opinion. And so I think the more that we can raise awareness about it, how we can use it for good, how can we use it in a way that prevents interception of our traffic, I think are really important. And you know, on the plane ride here, I took a look at your Internet Bill of Rights, and to me it was beautiful, and I love it. And I can't believe we don't have something like this in the U.S., because it talks right away about like privacy on the internet and net neutrality. And I think one of the things you're going to see as you get older is that the old guard really doesn't like to get out of the way for the new guard. And it's really up to all of you to change the world and mold it and make it work the way that you want it to. And so I really encourage all of you to find out and learn more about activism and see how you can get involved. And I think like one of my favorite quotes from Spider-Man, I'm a huge Spider-Man nerd, right? Like with great power comes great responsibility. And I think because all of you have great power over the machine, you have the responsibility to explain it to some of your less technical colleagues or family members why certain things are important and why you're passionate about them.
Awesome. Thank you. Pessoal, Nick Desaulniers, por favor, palmas para ele. Em dobro, né? Porque não bateram no começo.